if it is not tied to an investigation. And some, you can just request, like the contract. Now, I don't know whether this is the contract she was pertaining to, but this is the contract between the South Carolina Department of Social Services, Child Support Services, and Division of Clerk of Court. So if that's the contract she was referring to, I requested it, I had it. So I haven't sat down and read it yet, along with the 2 letters from the Attorney General on their opinion. I haven't sat down and read it yet, along with the 2 letters from the Attorney General on their opinion. And again, I have not voted yet, because I'm trying to get the facts.
Yeah.
We can allege individuals on certain things. However, being a former law enforcement officer, I don't foresee investigating a case that don't have no merit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
Doing a lot of people does not do. Reading. A lot of people does not do. Reading. They just rely on somebody to tell them.
And that's where the system fails us.
Exactly.
Yeah. 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 I mean, let's come on, let's get into it. You know what I mean? Let's get into it real fast. Come on. Come on. Please get in the comment section. Tell me what you just heard. Tell me what did you just hear? Okay? Tell me what you just heard. I'll describe it. I'll say this. Okay, it's a snippet, and you can go over to that channel and watch the whole of it, right? But when you say to me, right, and I need you guys to listen carefully, when you say to me, I haven't read the document, I'm handing you a document and I'm sitting on screen saying, I haven't read the document. If that is the case, what the hell are we talking about? Y'all chew on that for a minute now. If the thing that we're talking about, if I'm talking to you guys about the 1 cent penny sales tax, and I have these documents and I sit on front of a screen and pass papers and do like that's deceptive. That's deception, right? And again, you have to listen to these people. Am I making this up? Somebody get in the comment section, tell me when I start making it up. If you haven't read the documents, the reason why what you're on there talking about, if you have a contract and you haven't read it, what the hell are you talking about? So confidently. Y'all better hit that share button and get these people over here. And the comment section is open. Don't misquote me. When you decide, just like I'm deciding to interject myself into the local politics, I open myself up for the questions to come back, so I make myself available. And we ain't even start digging yet. We ain't start digging yet. Come on, I'm sorry. Come in. Ajit. I'm sorry, y'all gotta calm down a little bit. Kaja just came and give me that little look like, all right. Kaja. Yeah. Turn the air down for me. So if you just joining back, since you just joining back on, I want you to look at this video again, and you guys tell me, is this somebody we should be listening to, right? I've wasted hours, right, to tell you guys what you already know. I've literally wasted hours doing research. Okay, there it is. Literally wasted hours digging. No doubt, sir. I've literally wasted hours digging. Yo, this is gonna be this. We just getting started. We just getting started. This show tonight is brought to you by Franklin Financial. I don't have their they sent me a thing just so I can get it up there at some point. But yeah, we man, listen. Man, listen. Man, listen. I like what is it? This is what I do. This is what I come on now. This is what I do. This year, right here. And to the host, ma'am, great show. It happens sometimes. You forget to turn your mic on. I will hit you for that. The fact that you got mics is awesome. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to do some collab work with you in the future, right? But let me play this again. Because again, why are we listening to somebody that just told y'all? After you said that for me, can't be nothing but what you think, because you said it out your mouth. Why do you have the documents and have not read them and still gonna go in front of a camera? That's called carrying somebody else's water. Man, the mayor's coming into a landmine tonight. He's a combat veteran, so he that's just how it's gonna be tonight, guys. Again, I want y'all to listen to the lady that did the interview, and she says, and I cut her off. I'm sorry. She said that this lady, the doctor, the good doctor, does something that nobody else, that a lot of people don't do, and that is read, right? And I want y'all to listen to me describe this video to you again, and show you something else that you missed, right? Like Dave Chappelle with this thing, man. I can tell you the punchline. No doubt. Yeah, I'm going to get that on because I ain't trying to bring him into all of that right there. Because they ain't call his name, they call my name, which is good. Oh, I get that. Matter of fact, let me give you one of these right here. Come on, y'all. So here we go.
To me, that's the action of someone who is desperate to tell their side of the story, but they're doing it in the wrong capacity.
That's the actions of someone who's desperate to be a part of the story, but they're doing it in the wrong capacity. And let her tell you in which capacity she's doing it.
To me, that's the action of someone who is desperate to tell their side of the story, but they're doing it in the wrong capacity. You understand what I'm saying? Because had she not mentioned that she had an email, which, some information you can obtain through FOIA, if it is not tied to an investigation. And some, you can just request, like the contract. Now, I don't know whether this is the contract she was pertaining to, but this is the contract between the South Carolina Department of Social Services, Child Support Services, and Division of Clerk of Court. So if that's the contract she was referring to, I requested it, I had it. So I haven't sat down and read it yet, along with the 2 letters from the Attorney General on their opinion. I haven't sat down and read it yet, along with the 2 letters from the Attorney General on their opinion. And again, I have not voted yet, because I'm trying to get the facts.
Yeah.
We can allege individuals on certain things. However, being a former law enforcement officer, I don't foresee investigating a case that don't have no merit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
Doing a lot of people does not do. Reading. A lot of people does not do. Reading. They just rely on somebody to tell them.
And that's where the system fails us.
Exactly.
What did we just witness? We literally just witnessed literally we just witnessed the interviewer say she does what people don't do right after the lady said she didn't read it. So how can she do what people don't do and say that she didn't do it at the same time? Or did I not hear that? There you go. She got the facts in her hand. Just read it. But she said she didn't read it. And that's how the system is failing, because we're out here passing information. We're getting on social media. When you take the responsibility, if you're looking for, like she said, she's looking for the facts, then why are you on that show? You didn't come on that show in a finding capacity. It was all mudslinging. It had, you know what I mean? It was all one-sided. You wasn't in search of facts. If you were in search of facts, you would have read the document, sweetie. That's just how that go. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time playing with you because you're not a serious person when it comes to this type of thing. You could say a lot of things, but I doubt you've ever forwarded a document a day in your life. I highly doubt that. And again, the invitation has been sent. It's in your inbox because also in that video you said some other things that's just the one thing. But you said that people been inboxing you and people. Well, I inbox you and you ain't answer that. I inbox 2 or 3 of the accounts you got because I'm interested in having this conversation. I know what I said. I can play back what I said also. But to sit like I'm about to trigger some of y'all, right? So if you easily trigger, just know I'm triggering you right now. But if you take your damn eyes and see, then you will hear what I'm saying. This type of thing, right? In that video, that lady goes on to say that if you're a public official, you have to take whatever the public throws at you. In other words, you're not a human at that point. Okay, that part I put on, but go on and listen to it for yourself. And she should not defend herself. She should just allow you. Go listen to it yourself, guys. Listen critically. Look for facts. Listen for facts. But if you haven't read the contract, why is we talking to you? Why should anybody believe or listen to anything you said after you made that statement? And then the interviewer goes on and co-signs the ignorance, because that's all it is. You're ignoring the facts that you holding in your damn hands. But like you said, if you get on live and talk long enough, you'll incriminate yourself. The one thing I am, and that's not stupid. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. But what does that actually mean, though? Again, you're looking for the facts. Why in the hell are you on that show? Because you want to purport yourself as, hey, I just got one vote. But then again, you want to influence. Are you mad about the election? Are you mad that Ronnie Sabb, because you guys went and did some attacking on Ronnie Sabb. And again, you may have been right in what you were saying, but when you guys began to talk, I'm talking about you and the lawyer, because that seemed to be so coordinated, the 2 interviews or whatever, which was, again, you're free to do what you want to do. But when it's out there, it's out there. Okay? Because like you said, you keep talking and you're going to implicate yourself. You're insinuating that there's a crime. Do you have proof that there's an investigation going on? Do you have proof that everything in that article was true? I doubt you read the article. You just said you didn't read the article. You didn't read the documents that you passed to the. You couldn't do that to me, sweetheart. You could not do that to me. Hell no. 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 But again, we'll get a little deeper into that here in a little bit, y'all. This is it's gonna be one of them nights, man. Y'all make sure y'all keep hitting that like button so we can bring some more people in there, because we just getting started. I promise you, it's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be a long one, but it's gonna be a good one. Okay. I'll make sure somebody make sure they go and let this lady know. And why did I do this?
So Turquoise is here. I am from Williamsburg County. I bring you greetings from a small rural area.
Because a politician's sword, his battle sword, or his or her battle sword, is the ability to communicate, the ability to drive a message in a short amount of time, precise, deliver it, get in, get out, and move on. So when you choose these people to represent you, understand a lot of times they don't have a lot of times in front of these donors. They don't have a lot of time in front of these, you know what I mean? So they got to be able to deliver that message. And a lot of times they're competing with other folks. So you damn right it matters that you communicate effectively as a politician. You, the voter, that's all I'm asking is you to demand. The politicians can do what they want to do. They can keep going on these shows, sounding like mush mouth, whatever. You can keep doing it. Again, I made the statement that you can go on a larger platform than mine. There's so many more platforms that's way bigger than mine, right? But if you don't know what it is you're talking about, you're just gonna look stupid in front of a larger crowd of people. And that's just the way that goes, man. That's the way that goes. And I would also ask the people to pay attention, right? When somebody wants to burn down the city and destroy everything and get rid of this candidate, what's the alternative? What is the solution? Is this just destroy it and leave it and let it, you know what I mean, just be? Or is there some kind of plan to resolve the situation? And in both of those interviews, they offered you nothing else to the contrary. They couldn't tell you about the other candidate, the lady that's running against Saab. They probably could, but they neglected to. And they're supposed to be bringing you the information. Okay. Yeah. When they started talking about, again, I was feeling the information. You know, I'm gonna go to this computer and research some stuff. You know, information that's put in front of me, but then I got turned off. Like when it was, you know, one of the things they were saying is that Senator Saab, all he does is honor people. Okay, that's not the whole story, but let's just go with that. Okay. So your critique is that this senator is getting black folks from this part of South Carolina, because you know we always talk about how we weren't represented in history. So he's getting these black folks who obviously done some extraordinary things in their environment, in their community. So he's getting them acknowledged, right? Getting their family acknowledged. There's a lot of it's you know, post-mortem. But after a person's died, they're being recognized and different things like this. And that's a problem. I saw no point in disrespecting those people's families. I thought it showed a level of anger that is dangerous, right? Again, the question was asked of the lawyer, you know what I mean, is he going to run again? And for some reason, he offered up the fact, or, you know, saying that, you know, he had to this point, he had spent $250,000 running for office. And he said it in a way like, you know, $250,000 of my money. Nobody asked your ass to run. Okay? When you step up, volunteer, that comes with the territory. and it just came off as like bitter little bitches, you know. No, I don't work for no campaign, but they damn sure can donate. And the cash app's right there because I ain't joking. I'm serious. You know what I mean? We need some more cameras. We need some more lights. We need a lot of different things. So the cash app is right there. If you want to donate, if you're enjoying this program, and please, because in order for me to stay independent now, because if they write the check, I might have to sell out. But right now, we ain't selling out. Especially they just got some new venomous. They just identified a new venomous spider on the excuse me, on the East Coast, and it's moving down. This is a dangerous spider. So I would just go ahead and encourage any of you to.
Are you tired of pesky bed bugs ruining your nights? Say goodbye to those annoying bugs with our effective
Just say that those are spiders, all right? I know you don't have bed bugs, but just in case you do. But if you don't, just think about those venomous spiders.
Are you tired of pesky bed bugs ruining your nights? Say goodbye to those annoying bugs with our effective and safe bed bug heat treatment. Our service is fast, reliable, and ECO-friendly. With our treatment, you'll be able to sleep peacefully without worrying about those pesky bugs anymore. Don't suffer through another night of uncomfortable sleep. Book your appointment now and get ready to say hello to a better night's sleep.
And that's real. That's real. For real, for real. The boys is good. The boys will make it happen, man. But again, somebody let the lawyer doctor know. The boy want to holler at him. Holler at her. Candidate suing the county over termination. What do you guys think about that one right there? Yeah, we get all these little topics out again. Mayor will be on here in a second. I told you it's going to be a long show. You definitely want to stay tuned for that because a lot is going on. A lot is going on in the town of Andrews that needs to be brought to the forefront, and it's going to be brought to the forefront. I don't see why not. I really don't. I really don't. All right. The 15th, Jones Avenue Park. There's going to be a lot going on, so make yourself flexible that day. Let's get out and support as many people as we can. I know that there's going to be groups going to Georgetown to support the folks over there at the Juneteenth March. A bunch of stuff going on about that march. And, people are looking into why is it that the cost to secure that Juneteenth parade is going up. Now, while I'm pissing people off, I might as well piss somebody else off. Why are we celebrating Juneteenth? Black folks have already, we already have a holiday created by Black folks celebrating those men that died in the Civil War, and that's called Memorial Day. You thought it was about the troops? That's Veterans Day. Do a little research on that and ask yourself, why are we celebrating now? Juneteenth again. That's a good little Texas holiday. That's where that should be celebrated at, in Texas. And why are we celebrating as a national holiday? And it's a situation that took place in Texas, and we already celebrate Memorial Day for that reason. Just a question. Memorial Day is just not Bike Week, okay? It was actually created by free Blacks here in South Carolina, actually. Some more actual factuals. Oh, man. There it is again. Go over to Christian TY News and check out that story over there. That's the full interview. Full length interview. Right there. Oh man. TY hooked that thing up and dropped it. And guys, we're gonna go ahead and do this right here, right now. Sir, how are you? First of all, yeah, I kind of hinted that you was having a medical situation, but if you know, how are things? Okay, I heard you, and now I don't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, let's see. Your mic's muted.
Yeah, we
There
have a double feed. So let me do this again. Hold on a second.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah, you sound good on my end.
Okay. Let me get my lighting straight here. Didn't have time to prep, but
it's all good, but that's commitment to the show. You got a light crew on the road with him. I don't even have that.
Man, listen, it's been a wild day.
Ah
So it's good to be with you.
I've heard. I don't know where to start again. Welcome. I already came in hot a little bit. I seen you were watching. A lot's been going on, and I want us to focus on this connection because you and I talk about it all the time about the connection between Williamsburg and Georgetown County, especially the Andrews area, and the areas that border, that county, and the importance of these races and some of the things surrounding them. Your thoughts on well, you know what? Let's start, because I got this document first of all. Let's start where we're from. Let's start at home first, and then we'll head on across it.
Because I heard your show was pretty hot there. I listened in pretty intently and kind of following a lot of those things. But I like to, as you stated, focus in on my territory first, and then we can talk about what's happening around and affecting the town of Andrews.
All right, so this information right here, man, it's been out. It's a culmination basically of the record of Everett, Carolina. And for those of you who don't know, Councilman Everett, Carolina he's up for re-election, but it's opposition over at Welcome Ages podcast. There ain't no secrets that he is definitely not the guy for the job. His record here, I was going into this a little bit earlier. I didn't even get down to that he voted down the Affordable Housing Act. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even get down to that part there when I was talking to the folks earlier. He failed to maintain ditches throughout the county. It's just a lot of different things that this man has been derelict in his duty. And the crazy part is, that a lot of folks have never seen him?
Yes. Yeah, that and I'll take credit for that chart because here's where I am. Let me start with this. This is a critical time, not just for the town of Andrews, but obviously for this country, as we look at elected officials like myself and others. And so it's important that we get the right people in the right place. Now we all have our opinions about who that may be, but from where I sit and my interaction with those that have been here and those that I'm seeing now that are running, I have a very strong opinion about who I believe that will be a part, an effective part of the team. I've been doing this now for 8 years, and so I have an informed opinion and position with respect to who I think will best fit in. I don't have anything personal with either of these candidates on both sides. Well, you know, as you mentioned earlier, what happens on County Line Road affects Andrews because we have citizens on the Williamsburg side of the County Line Road. So we should be interested. We have voters over there, and we should be interested in who the next rep will be. And that's why I've been involved, paying attention to, and have decided on who I will support, just based on my observation, my interaction with these candidates over a period of time. This is not a snapshot, and that's what we encourage all of our citizens to do, is get to know your candidates, and that's what I've done. And the reason why it's important, because again, most of those folks we're talking about on the Williamsburg County side of the County Line Road, most of them are either seniors or have some disability, or in a nursing home, the dialysis center. And so with King Street, I mean, again, we're the closest municipality to these folks. The majority of the folks I just mentioned are actually residents of the town of Andrews, but like in Sunny Pines, they're not. So they're fully King Street residents. But the need for the services that we provide is critical. Ambulance, police, fire. We know the issues with the ambulance. The police department, we can go to Magnolia and those places that are annexed into the city of Andrews or the town of Andrews, but those other places we don't have jurisdiction. So then Williamsburg County, like Deerwood, Williamsburg County would have to come to address any issues in Deerwood. Deerwood is less than a mile outside of our city limits. So why don't we have mutual aid agreements and those kind of things that again close that gap on those type resources? So then we need someone who understands that on that side of the border or the county line, and that we can work with closely to make sure we start having these conversations. How do we close this gap? With the limited resources we have here in Andrews, now we don't own any ambulance, that's all county resources. So there's another level of conversation that have to be had between the two counties. Maybe that's happening. I don't think so, based on what I've seen in the last 8 years, or it's inconsistent. And so we're talking about people that are very vulnerable and vulnerable ages. We have the entire 4 schools along that stretch: Andrews Elementary, Rosemary, Andrews High School, and our Trinity Christian Academy. We got kids who play ball sports year round. So if you don't have ambulance on site and it has to go through all of these hurdles to get here, that's a problem. So those are the things and businesses. So we provide we provide water and sewer for those folks. But all these other services and all these other concerns have not been properly addressed. And so then, as I assessed the candidates, I made my choice, and I am in full support of Mr. Randall Neesmith for District 3 in Williamsburg County, because this man is invested here. He has business in town. I see him all the time. They're doing things on Main Street with the buildings that they own or have purchased. They even building homes here in Andrews. So they've built, I think they have scheduled to build 4 homes. That's investment. That's skin in the game. He's very active with the youth. That's one of my priorities, to make sure that we can get things to keep these young kids. He's already doing that. So as opposed to trying to recreate that, let's bring those resources to the table that's right now, because we have to address this right now. Yep. It's not going to address all the needs, but this man has already invested long before he even ran the first time. And again, not a knock on any of the other candidates, but I'm talking about having these resources available now. And we just,
I mean, as he putting in the work. Again, I had a big issue with when the last election back in November with folks, not having any real knowledge. Again, like you came in when you said an informed voter. You know what I mean? Thanks, sweetie. I was just thinking about, I was just playing a video where, these ladies did this whole 30-minute interview, and in a soundbite, you know what I mean? We could have just stopped that interview right there, because when you say, hey, I haven't read the documents, and we're here talking about the documents, yeah.
Again, let's do our homework. I mean, I had this conversation earlier today with another group of people from Andrews, where information is out there, but we're not going to where it is to gather that information and then again making informed decisions. And as I told them, there are set platforms or venues, if you will, that you can come and get the information. The government is not going to be able to come to each individual. So let's leverage all of the social media, the websites, the meetings that are scheduled routinely, and be involved, because a soundbite will get you in a lot of trouble. You'll be making comments and opinions about something that you have absolutely no idea of what's going on. And so, like I told them, my job is to make sure I know what the heck I'm talking about. And not just that there's documentation to back that up. And that's one that you have digested and understand what it really means and comprehend. So you can then go put these things together and inform the people on what's going on. Anything less than that, you're doing a disservice to to the people that you're talking about and the community. That's the real problem, because everybody has an opinion on Facebook. It's not based on any knowledge or very little.
Yeah, because there was those same two interviews that I was referencing. They came after Senator Saab pretty hard, and they were saying some things about his record, but I know it wasn't a complete picture of what it is a senator does, and I would encourage everybody to Google, right? What is the job of a state senator in the state of South Carolina? And it'll lay out to you what the job is, and then you can use that as a reference point to what was said, and then you'll be able to kind of strip away the hate, the anger, or whatever that that was all about. But did you have a chance to catch any of this?
Yeah,
I know you're busy.
Yeah, I actually checked them out earlier this week. Here's what I would say from my experience. I came in, I did a lot of federal time as a United States Army, and then when I knew I was going to run for this position, I thought I knew what the job was all about. But I was very careful to speak ill of the current administration. Now, I did have some opinions based on the little information I gathered from the people as I'm talking and trying to get to understand how the system works, and did form an opinion. But I will tell you, once you get control and get in this hot seat, it's very different from what you can imagine. And so, and as time passed, you see that it's not always that simple that says they're not doing X, Y, Z. There's reasons for that. And the job is much greater than what we can see on the surface. So to the point, and I can imagine that at Senator Saab's level, this broad responsibility. And I did my research. I did some research too. I mean, I work very closely with Senator Saab, and always an upstanding gentleman. I'm an up close and personal kind of guy. I go after it very aggressively. That is not his style, but he is very effective. He's very methodical in his approach, And I've learned a lot from him in understanding that sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. And then as I look at all the things that is in his responsibility and the state reps, and the higher you go, the broader your responsibilities, I would caution people to be very careful on how you judge, because when I can't get to the 2,575 people all individually, I can't imagine him with all of these counties in District 32. You're not going to have a personal relationship with your elected officials.
The arrogance in that's why I couldn't do your job, because the arrogance of people, they think they own you guys as politicians. The arrogance to think that, oh, he should have been here because this cause is so noble, and I mean, and if he didn't come, then it should have been some representative, and that sounds good, but that's just not.
And in the government, things move slow. We can get a grant today, and it's probably going to be 12 to 18 months before you see that project materialize because of the process you have to go through. And in one case, I mean, and we've had second time, you can have all the money, put the bids out there, but if contractors are not jumping on it because they're going to a bigger project to get more money, which is understandable, then you're gonna have to go through that cycle again. So it's a slow process, and again, it helps for us to become informed. And it's all right.
You actually got to read the documents, like that lady said, but she didn't do. But you actually got to read the documents.
Yeah,
you actually got to do the reading. You got to do the reading.
If you don't, then you're going to make yourself look incompetent, because there's somebody else out there reading it, and like what you do, and I commend you for the level of investigative type work that you do, and not just sharing a thought of somebody else. You got to look into it, dig into it, and have facts if you're going to talk to the people about this serious business. So when you get up here and start talking to yourself and just airing your opinion, and you don't have the facts, somebody else knows that, this, these roads and ditches belong to the state, but then you got this other person who is very vocal on Facebook talking, putting the blame on the town or the mayor, when it's in fact, it's the tax dollars you pay into the state that's responsible for it. So as I told the folks tonight, put the pressure on the right governing body.
Yeah, and that's that level of again is arrogance. I mean, it's dangerous arrogance too, because I guess they feel that they're right. Forget what the documents say. I guess they feel like, hey, I'm right in what I'm saying.
And I've learned you just gotta, you gotta stay focused on what your job is, and just go ahead and do it, because you're gonna have as many people out there. You're gonna have a ton of opinions, and you can't be distracted by it. I say again, Senator Saab is the right man, has always been. Keep this man on the job. I'm supporting Mr. Neesmith, and I'm supporting Mr. Cooper on this side of Georgetown, because I know him. I've watched him work. He's putting the groundwork to get to know the folks in these 6 or 7 different large communities that's within the District 3, and he's going to do the people well. He will be able to, I think, to bridge some of the gaps we have between the town and the county, and kind of unite things. And that's the strength that Mr. Cooper comes with. He's a man of integrity. You showed the chart. There's a lot of things that are being said that was done, but when you start pulling the paper back and looking at the facts of it, there may have been something done in one community, but the rest of District 3 is suffering. It's absolutely suffering. And the thing about it, that no one is asking anyone to do, like the town of Andrews, we have a 7-member council, myself and 6 council members. We have a responsibility here. We're going to do our job. But when it comes down to the things that you see up here on that upper left, the ambulance, that's, just being removed from Andrews, that is squarely on the shoulders of the county council members. Has zero to do. We don't own an ambulance. It's their job. they'll allow that thing to be moved from here without notifying the town or any real justification. You know,
Yeah,
that $4 million in the storm drain project, that $4 million, I don't know where it's sitting, but the storm drain project is not done yet. That money was allocated for that. So you see those things. I don't have to read them for everyone. That is the responsibility. And in this case, highlight the fact that that's what we have not gotten from the support we haven't gotten from Everett, Carolina. And he's probably a good guy somewhere else, but we're not looking for a good guy. We're looking for someone who's going to be effective and consistent and taking care of the people. That's just the
yep. Yeah. What was I thinking about just now? Let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a stupid question. I know it's a stupid question, but it's being put out there as if it's fact. Again, a warning. This is a stupid question. Now, does the town of Andrews have accreditation?
Have a what?
Accreditation.
I don't know what that is.
Does the county have accreditation?
Now, when you start talking accreditation, it sounds like the police department or some institution, higher education.
Police department has SLED. Yeah. The fire department has.
Right.
Yeah. Colleges have to be accredited. So when this lady gets on TV, well, computer, whatever, and says that the county of Williamsburg and the city of King Street is not accredited, that is bad information. So again, you are the mayor of Andrews, South Carolina, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and you guys don't have to have an accreditation. Who would be the accrediting body that you would go to for and apparently in this world this person lives in, the accreditation, if you had the accreditation, you could get so many more grants and so many more, like, please help me with that.
Yeah, I don't know what she was referring to but I will tell you, I do know that Williamsburg County has gotten millions of dollars in grants. I mean, it's there. Even two supervisors removed, you watch these things happen. So I'm not so sure what context that she was trying to express that point. But I mean,
the last thing I remember, I know I missed some other ones, but I do remember Lindsey Graham giving them about $7 million or something like that a couple years ago to set them along in the state. I don't know how. Maybe that $7 million is a little bit, but I know he gave them some money because of where they were in this state park developing their part of the state park. So somebody's doing something over there.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. Yeah. So again, they check all of your financial status over time, your audits. You have to be in good standing and meet criteria to qualify for these grants. They're not just going to give you grants, but if you can't manage a budget, you're always in the red and all that business, and you're not going to qualify. So maybe that's what the term accredit. I don't know, but it's not one I've heard used since I've been here.
And you do sit on the
well. Say again.
Along with being the mayor, you what's your position in the municipality? Not union, but the group that of all the municipalities throughout the state. What is that group called?
Are you referring to this board I sit on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a couple of them. The one I think you're referring to is the South Carolina Community Development Association. So that's one. Now the municipal, maybe you're talking about the municipal association.
There you go.
Yeah. So
that's when you meet with all the different mayors and different people from other. I'm just checking. I'm just checking your credentials. I'm just checking your accreditation, making sure you got there. You know what I mean?
Hey, I make sure that I attend all of these courses they offer, so you can again educate yourself, become educated in the things that you are responsible for doing. And you can't learn that sitting behind your desk. You got to go to these meetings. You got to interact with other mayors and other cities and learn, and figure out where the resources are coming from, because it doesn't just, fall out of the sky and say, here's $1 million, go do something with it. So you got to be in the places, be in these networks to understand where the resources are. And so we try to take advantage of those things.
No doubt. Right. Shout out to Councilman Torrance Wilson over there in Williamsburg County. He put me on that game. I saw that in action. He was working with State Rep Mr. Atkinson, getting those resources down to the to the community.
That's right.
And I mean, at the end of the day, that's your job. That's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, you have to. It's like anything else. I mean, you have to get educated. And the challenge is that there's no requirement for you to go and do these things. So you can get elected and just do nothing and become a cog in the road and stop in the process. And unfortunately, a lot of them do that. There's no requirement for these courses. They make them available. You attend if you want to, but you're doing a disservice to the community that you're serving when you don't come to the table, inform, and making decisions based on the facts. And that's the challenge for all elected officials from my level all the way up to federal, to be honest with you.
All right. If you were hypothetically you had a lawsuit against the town that you represent, what if there is, I'm asking you, is that a conflict of interest? Do you know? Is it? I mean, I don't see why it should be, but is it?
If you said if it's a lawsuit?
Yeah, if you're suing the town and you as an elected official, what does that? How does that? I don't know. I mean, am I able to? Let's say I'm running for a seat and I win, but I got a lawsuit against the county. And I'm bringing it up because of what's going on in Williamsburg County also. And I'm just curious as to, is there some kind of is there a conflict of interest? It seems to be one, obviously, but will there be? I guess the question I would be asking, and I don't know where I would go to get this answer, but I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Would there be certain areas, especially around the area, like the department that you're suing, that you have to recuse yourself from, you on different things, or, do you have any ideas on that, or any thoughts on that, I guess I should say?
Yeah. Well, obviously you can still run for office. Okay. Now what it becomes is probably you getting, publicly crucified, public perception and public opinion is going to be a challenge for whomever's in that situation. But if you've been wrongly, if you've been treated wrongly or taken advantage of, then that's what the system is for. And once you're in there, yes, you can recuse yourself from anything that is associated with this lawsuit. You keep yourself separate from it, but it's the public opinion that's going to be a nightmare for anybody in that situation. It's not illegal to run. Obviously, I think that would have been identified by now. It's just that you have to deal with what people think. It becomes a talking point for platforms like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that.
Go ahead.
And I think this should be a lesson to any politician coming forward. Like, you stop trying to sell perfection. And if you got these kind of things, like, probably best you deal with it first and don't let it come out. You know what I mean? Take the bull by the horn. Like, a lot of the folks, well, not a lot of folks. This the doctor was on that show. To me, no matter what the clerk of court would have said, that lady wasn't looking for clarification. You feel what I'm saying? She's got a narrative in her head, and that's just kind of how these things happen. You know what I mean? With politics, and so that's why what the clerk of court did, as opposed to what this Miss Rouse is doing, is you got to deal with them things. You got to deal with the tough questions. You know what I mean? And I think for me, that's the best way to deal with it, is directly.
And I give her a lot of credit for sticking to what she believed in terms of, wanting to serve, and probably understanding she's going to be scrutinized, and having to go through that. So there's a level of commitment, the way I see it, and to see if so many of them will run from that challenge. But again, in these positions, I'm not immune to it, kind of, sort of. But it doesn't, you just gotta know that you're doing the right thing for the right reason, and stay focused, because you're gonna get beat down regardless. As there's some people out there that do not care for you for what reason or another, and that's just who they are. But if they look at your commitment and the work that you're putting in, if that's what you're doing, then that should be the basis from where they judge you. But that's not the case. And you have to sometimes put on blinders and stay focused on the purpose why you're here. That's to serve the people. And then let those naysayers continue to do what they're doing, because they're just really wasting their time. But just stay true to yourself, true to the people. And so I commend anyone that's in that situation that still wanted to stay in this octagon, as I call it, because it gets pretty rough inside here. There's no rules sometimes, and you get beat up pretty good.
Yeah, okay. So just overall, I think that there's a political awakening, and maybe it's just because it's the cycle, but I think the last two voting cycles have changed. I know definitely in Georgetown County it's changed to where now these politicians, there's more, there's somebody there watching now. There's not, I'm not going to carry you water. You know what I mean? You can go to Scott and Gab News for that. They'll carry you water, and again, if you're doing the right thing, I'll carry that water. You know what I mean? But I also, I just believe in holding, politicians accountable, and an accountable. What I mean by accountable for me is be transparent, right? I don't expect you to go out there and be this, just this renegade and just kicking walls down and all that. But be transparent and be available.
Yeah, that's important. And again, I learned some things through this last election, is that not just the transparent, but being, communicating in different forms at different times to try to reach the mass of people that you serve, because not everybody's on Facebook. Obviously, not everybody's going to come to the meetings, but they all expect to know. And as I shared with the group tonight I spoke with, is that you still have to make an effort to come out of your house and come to the standard meetings, or go to, town council, county council. Those things are very consistent. So you can't sit back and say, I don't know, if you haven't made an attempt to learn. Everything is at our fingertips now. I mean, you can do your research, and you can do it from your smartphone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to put gas in your car to go to the county council meetings, right? And if Williamsburg County is not doing this is something the citizens should be focused on getting happy. That's the one thing I'll give Georgetown County. They put those meetings up on YouTube live, so you can watch those meetings. And we've been saying this for the last year. You got to be intentional. You got to. This information, the information that you need is not coming. It's not just going to walk up to you.
It's not. And the other thing, I mean, I've been to a county council meeting now, I think now probably it may be a month or so, probably a little bit more. I will miss something, but I can go back. I'll go back and look at those minutes and look at what was, and get caught up. You see, and so that's what we have to put in an effort. And as I told them tonight, I said, it's almost like if the kids don't go to school, miss 40 days, how do you expect them to advance, move forward? It's the same thing here. So if we don't come to these meetings or get involved, we're not going to know.
Yep.
It's that simple. If you don't go to it or do some of your work, you're going to be left in the dark, and you're going to be surprised once you get a whole data dump on you and say, oh, I didn't know that was going on. I wouldn't have voted for that guy if I'd known this.
And I've seen that happen. It would be my hope that any high schooler who just graduated watching this, it's the reason why you're watching this. Stay connected to your town's politics. Do not, do what a lot of us did. Just go away and if you're hearing this now, take advantage of this and get involved. You know what I mean? Again, you don't have to be the loud screamer. You don't have to start a podcast, but you are responsible for your environment. You are responsible for information that you can know. They got these websites, Georgetown County page is very comprehensive. You can set it up to where you can get notifications on your phone, and we just got to use this stuff. You feel what I'm saying? It's one thing to have it. Again, that's like I was saying about the document, with the lady having the document. Did you see that video? It was crazy, but yeah, not only know where the information is, but use it.
And I agree with you 100%. Georgetown County has a great website. They push all that information out. You get the alerts. There's no excuse why we don't know what is happening or can't keep up with it. Same thing, Williamsburg County, their meetings are live. And so, you can go back. Yeah, their meetings are live, and you can go back if you're working any conflict and play them. So
yeah, I'm gonna definitely catch up on Williamsburg County politics, because it's more full contact over there. It's a full contact sport over there, And so, but I'm doing it just to connect, just to connect that dot, because one of the things that you didn't mention, and things happen over in the Andrews area of Williamsburg County, and it's tagged as Andrews. You know what I mean? We the town of Andrews carries that. You know what I mean? And it could have very well happened in Williamsburg County. So yeah, how things play out is definitely important in between that area right there.
Well, that's a key point. Again, the 29510 extends all the way out to Earls, Osita, actually out there to where Georgetown County and Berkeley County, at that line, all of that is considered Andrews, Lambertown, Big Dam, but it's not in the municipality. It's not something that we govern. That is all county, whether it's Williamsburg, or Georgetown. But as you said, when a report is being sent out there that something bad is going on, it says Andrews. And unfortunately, these writers, these social media platforms, and these writers don't say it's the Williamsburg, it's on the Williamsburg side, it's in the county. So everyone thinks, you Google it, oh, it's in Andrews. No, it's not. Most of the time it's not. But that's just the way it is. That geographically, that's the way it is. And I would hope, again, that people become aware of that, because we get blamed a lot of times for things that we have no control over. But we deal with it. It's
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they can blame us for this right here. June 15th, Jones Avenue Park. Men's accountability. And your voice will
too.
Okay. I don't know what I got going on here. Can you? I think it's my internet.
Okay.
I think is that a little better?
And it's not. It's almost every other word or something like that. But I'm following you.
I got you. Yeah, my internet, I see it going and up and down. But right here, man, it's going to be some valuable resources. 501c is going to be out there, kid friendly event. You know, we're going to have some food. Um, it says 1 to 6, but I think we're going to be like 1 to 4, or something like that. Because there's a lot going on that day, and I want people to get out. There's a Juneteenth parade um, in Sanford, and then I think there's one in Georgetown also. And you were saying something. I was talking to, I don't know if it was you, was talking to somebody, but there's a group from Andrews. Well, we want people from Andrews to go out so we can support the folks in Georgetown, the groups that put on that parade, because they've been going through it, you know what I mean, with getting security for that parade.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. Hopefully they get it worked out. I see that Senator Saab has paid the fees for the security. I think it's $3,200.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a testament of this man's commitment to problem solving and getting involved at the level that he needs to. But I believe it's important. I was invited to it. I'll be there to support that. And I think we're taking a group of people down to Georgetown to participate in that. And I know as people become more and more aware of the Juneteenth and it's, they're still learning about it. We should know that by now, but it's important. I'm going to go and we're going to support that. Then we'll come back here for this event because that's important too, because we are missing from the forefront of a lot of things. And we got to get our men, young men, older men back active. I think you got a great keynote speaker there, Mr. Quan Pope, who was a standout athlete, and accomplished a whole bunch of things. And unfortunately, we lost all that talent to the upstate. But it's great that he's coming back home to be a part of that conversation. And we're going to have some tough conversation with the men about our role in all aspects, not just in the community, the government, all things that we should be heavily involved in. We got to have those conversations, and we got to take action. That's just as important.
No doubt, June 15th. Yeah, it's very important, very vital. Again,
because there's a movement. Yeah, there's a movement, and we haven't been invited to this movement that's happening across this country.
Yeah, man.
We're about to miss this train, so we better get on board.
Absolutely, a lot's going on. A lot. So listen, I am let's make sure I kind of covered everything I wanted to cover today. Because I know you're dealing with a situation right there. And again, I appreciate you coming on. I know the people appreciate you coming on because it's important. It's important.
Yeah.
And now in the face of, go ahead.
Now my son was taken to the emergency room, so I had to get up there and see about him. As a matter of fact, he's calling me now. I'll get back with him. He's he got treated and released. He's back home, so I'll get with him in a little bit. But gotta take care of my boy. That's my youngest. He an old cat, but that's my youngest.
No doubt.
But yeah, there's a lot going on. I won't even. I mean, we haven't even talked about the superintendent piece that's coming up now, where on the 11th of June they will have a listening session here in Andrews. Same day as voting.
Same day as voting. Who schedules these things?
That's the district. But it's important. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. And again, I'm not, we all should be, interested in what goes on that, whether it's what I do, what happens at that level, because it all impacts our kids. So we have a very qualified young lady that is currently sitting in the deputy's position, and I don't know whether that's what they call it, but the second seat.
Interim. She's the interim.
Yeah. So Dr. Giles has been elevated up to the interim superintendent until they go through this search. I don't know. I want to know, and I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna do my research to see if that's,
That's like looking for your cell phone and it's in your hand.
why haven't you been appointed or given a job? I don't know. Maybe it's a standard process that they have to go through, but I think it's a waste of funds if you don't. Why we're doing
That's
this?
what
Because
it is.
she went through the same process to get this job. She's done this job and all the other things that we're talking about, other things that people are talking about. Hey, you're not from here. You're not committed. This woman grew up in the educational system here. She has a PhD. And so I'm just curious. I think it's something that just, again,
Procedure.
I'm not asking anyone. I just want to know why is this, why we going first of all, we're going to we're going to spend money and resources to go through this search for a superintendent.
It's like looking for your cell phone with it in your hand.
Right. And
That's what it sounds like.
I would hope that she get the job because, again, she meet the criteria, and then you're going to have to go through that again for her replacement. So, and again, maybe that's the protocol of the school district. I'm going to ask those questions. I'm just curious, and that's, I think any citizen should right to ask those questions because I don't know. I've never sat on the school board. I don't know if that is the protocol, if it's necessary when you have a qualified leader who has done all of the work, but we got to go through this process. Maybe it's some EEO thing that, it's almost like contracting. You just can't give it to a contractor. You got to go through this bid process, this acquisition process. I would hope it's not like that.
Yeah, because I don't know. That's.
And meanwhile, school is going to be right back in the first week of August. So once we do this, she moves up, prayerfully. Then now we got to go through the process again. So then where is the time built in there to get the staff settled to receive these children when they come back to get straight on? And I think there's a lot of moves. Andrew's probably going to have a lot of turnover, every school. And so if you got a lot of turbulence at the top like that, it's really going to, I think, have a negative impact on the students. And we have to pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah, got to pay attention, and especially folks that got kids. You don't have to, if it's in your community, again, you could be that person that goes and just be like that recorder, just sit there and just document and take what you have, share it with your church, share it with your community group. There's got to be somebody. It don't have to be all, but we need to be present in these places. Period. Point blank.
It's tough business, man. But if it impacts the children and your community, I'd say just get involved, be informed, and stop operating off of somebody else's opinion. Can't do it.
Especially when they don't read the documents.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm gonna pass you this document. That's what you call theater, right? Like, you know what I mean? I'm giving you, and luckily she said, what she said, but it looks as if, oh man, yeah, she got the documents. Oh, the state attorney general's office. That thing could be blah 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 because you haven't read it.
I've seen it. People wave paper in front of you and say, these are my receipts, and then it's a folded bundle of paper with nothing on it.
That's all. I've done it in the store before.
I don't know if that's the case. I don't know this young lady. Other than
I've done it on a job. And listen, I wouldn't talk to my lawyer, and I'm telling you right now, okay? You know what I mean? I've done it before.
That's how it goes down.
That's how it goes down. You know what I mean? The old paper trick. The old folded paper trick. Oh man, everybody, come on, man. That's how it's in the day. Remember, they put that in the glove pocket. We use it again later today for like a credit card or something.
It's almost like the guy going inside of his pocket, think he got his piece. You know, just it's a bullying tactic. That's all it is. But I don't know. I wish them well, man. But it's important.
Oh yeah.
And we all need to be concerned on both sides of that county line and inside of our own perimeter.
No doubt.
Because
And
if we don't change the situation, it's gonna be we're gonna keep Andrew's gonna keep moving forward because we're gonna put the work in. It's just gonna make it a little bit more difficult to work around a lot of the roadblocks that has been happening over time.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to find a way around it, and that's what we do.
There needs to be a summit, man, like politicians from across the different counties. I mean, what's that? I know there's some kind of rule to where too many, like you gotta have, like you can't have, if you got so many of them in a public place, they have to, it's a quorum or something like that. How does that?
That's if you, from in our case, or any case, if you have we have 7 members, if 4 of us in the same setting that's talking about town business, that's officially a meeting. And meetings, according to the 4-year requirements, you got to be notified to public, and that's that kind of thing you got to be very careful of. Even if you're sharing text messages, anything that's discussing business, all of that has to be public, accessible to the people, and not just to your citizen. If anybody outside that wants to FOIA, some information, they can do that. So that's the importance behind that. We have to be very careful of. But we can get out here and do a lot of things, but you can't have a meeting that is not done properly and properly informing the public.
Yeah, I got to work through that and figure out. But it's I think it's vital that we get a bunch of these leaders in a platform and let's talk community. You know what I mean? Let's talk, community. Just outside of, well, not outside of politics, but let's listen to the community as a whole, as and get these different. Because again, I'm learning that the different roles, the different jobs of your county councilman, of your state representative, of your state senator, and who controls this person, and who sits over these type of funds, and I just think we need to have a big round table of politicians.
Hey, I will tell you, if they all had spent some time in the military, they'll understand organization, working together as a team, and then working for the good of the people. That's what the military is built on. That is non-existent in politics. It is a paradigm shift that I am not comfortable with, because we get our own agenda in the politics, and that's how we go, and that's where the divide and the separation happen. Because you've heard the old cliche, politicians make strange bedfellows. Mm-hmm. Friends are my enemies. That is so prevalent in this business, and it shouldn't be, because the people suffer. You see it at the national level, even inside of the parties, there are factions.
Yeah.
And they're attacking each other
viciously. So I was just thinking about that today. I said the generals aren't as vicious as these in-party fights. These primaries, these in-party fights, these fights are brutal. Yeah, and it damages relationships. And in small towns, you could be related to the person you're running against. Williamsburg County District 3 to the family. So it's. I mean, we all experience it at different levels. I can share some stories, but I won't. But it causes problems, man. If it's not done right, and it damages a relationship that could have an impact on the community. The 4th of July cookout is going to be a little a little different this year. Politics, that's how it goes.
But as long as,
That's
again,
how it goes.
if we can all come together, and I will tell you, if you see some of the successful counties and small cities that have figured out how, from the delegation on down, how to come together and try to make the entire county or this, better, you see that they're thriving. And we talk to some of these people when we go out to these meetings, and you just wish, like, man, I wish we had this kind of relationship that, if there's a community that is short of something here, then that's where we all agree that's where the resources go to get them up. But everybody want to fuss about the tax base and how much tax that we are paying, when in fact, if you don't have the stores and the places that to spend the money, then you go into, in our case, we go to Georgetown a lot. We spend a lot of money on this. So when we're having this conversation about we have the larger tax base, well, guess what? Most of them are tourists. They don't live here.
Absolutely.
So if you're talking about
I always illustrate that point when I ask people, how many residents are there in Pawleys Island? People are like, 10,000, 5,000, less than 100.
Less than 100. They border right at 100. But again, you have the vacation homes, and then people that, if you can afford to live there, and that's where the money is spent, but it ain't like everyday people like in Andrews, Sanford, Osita, and those kind of places. These are people that, and they all come here to school. We have 2,000 students in this town, and they're coming from as far as Sanford, Santee, Big Dam, and other Osita. So if you don't resource the hub, Andrews is the hub for these people. You don't resource the hub to make sure that the infrastructure, all these things are suitable, and the quality of life is to a standard where people can go about their business and education and do that without a whole lot of problem. Then it's a disservice to the entire county, in my opinion. But but that's the level of that we have to get to understand how this thing's supposed to work. I didn't know this before I got here, but I understand now. And unfortunately for Andrews, we had to do a lot of infrastructure work, building bridges and establishing. We had a long way to go. We've done a lot of great work, the team, but there's still more work to do, and it's going to continue because we got a great team here. For the most part, the community is, it's coming together. We have more work in that area, but it's a long haul. It's a marathon.
For me, it's literally changing. You're fighting to change the culture because, if you look at how Andrews was operated for, prior to you getting there, 30 years plus it was operated horribly. And it was a lot of it due to the fact that just folks didn't know. They thought they knew. They thought that was the way it was supposed to be done, and a lot of different other factors. But that's why we went from the town that we were to where we are now in this rebuilding phase. And so it's a change in culture because people don't realize if you see things, if the culture is corruption, and that's all then you don't know what right is. And that's what so when you see what right is, a lot of times you will fight it because you don't know what it is.
It's a lot of patience, man. A lot of patience and prayer, and just hard work, man. I just wanted to commend the staff, our departments. Again, Chief Cockrell, Major Chandler. You got Miss McCray, Miss Hibbett, Dixon. Those folks are working really hard, man. They have relieved the staff who are doing all this other stuff from having to worry about the operations as much as we had to in the past. And so they've taken a lot of that stuff off of our plate, and so we can focus on the big picture. Most organizations have a current ops and then people who do the planning and all that business for things in the future, because you can't just, if you're operating on tomorrow, you're going to miss the future. So you got to have someone looking out. Unfortunately for us, we're so small, that's still on the staff to do the day-to-day files and everything. Then you still got to work on planning, whether it's revitalization, whether it's Black River, whether it's grants, and all the whole management behind that thing. I didn't have a clue that all that stuff was a part of this operation. For all of their hard work, keeping us afloat, because it's and of course they don't get the recognition for it, but that's okay. That's okay. They're going to keep working, man. But encourage people to get informed. This election is important. If we don't get it right now, we got to wait we got to struggle through another 4 years of, a lot of, for more tap dancing and deceptive sound bites that it is not effective. And that's just, it's not good. It's not good. We don't need that. I know we don't need an Andrews. Maybe they can endure some of that stuff in other places and still survive. We just don't need that kind of roadblocks, if you will, at the county or the state level. You see?
No doubt. And just like Ms. Veronica says here, man, y'all make sure y'all go vote. Early voting stops on the last day is the 7th. So tomorrow will be 2 days left. And then the 11th is the actual date of the primary voting. So make sure you get out.
I will tell you, I apologize for cutting across, but we've gotten reports back now that folks down at the precinct is telling us that some of the people have been turned around because allegedly the lines were redrawn back in 2020. I said that doesn't impact these folks right here. I know that. So now tonight I got a copy of the District 3 map that I'll be going back down tomorrow to have a conversation with those guys. And unfortunately, these people have been turned around. Quite a few of them. And Andrews is already gerrymandered all the way down to it's where you got 75% African Americans in District 3, 75% Caucasian in 5. So that is not the way this thing's supposed to be. But it's been this way for years. And where Georgetown, they got the NAACP in to fight what was happening during that process in 2020, and they got it fixed.
This NAACP, no, and the current leadership right now, trash. Like my man said, trash. And I don't want to disparage that great organization, but the current leadership in Andrews, South Carolina is garbage. Okay, I'm saying it. I'm not mixing no bones about it. And there's a lot of great people that's a part of that organization, namely two gentlemen that I can think of right off the top of the head, and that's Mr. Jerome, Mr. Booby Mays, and these other people. And they know me, and they know I'm not talking about the organization itself, because the organization is a great organization. It's done a lot of great things. But currently, the president, Jeremiah Jackson of the NAACP, is garbage, and he needs to go because, like you said, that organization has done a lot of things to help people out. They were instrumental back when from ONEDA, paying equal pay to black women and black men that work there. Just a bunch of different things. And right now, where that organization sits at right now, it is an embarrassment to what's going on in Andrews, South Carolina. And I just thought I'd offer that, my how I feel about that. And this is part of the reason why nationally younger blacks have no interest in being a part of that organization, and it's a shame.
Well, I'll just say that its principle stands for the right thing, and like anything else, if you don't have, whether it's where I sit or wherever else, you got to have the right folks, because it's important. It's important for all of these organizations that represents the people, regardless of whether you color of your skin, background is to be effective. To try to be effective. We it just did not work. It didn't work out when it came down to the 2020 census for the town of Andrews. We are still I mean, you look at it when you say 75% of race. That's not the way it's supposed to be divided.
And to the people that's checking in, that's not from Andrews, what we're talking about is Georgetown County is divided into 7 districts, right? And Andrews is split with 2 districts, with District 5 and District 3. And the way that it's split, it divides racially, right? So in these areas, it's divide and conquer, okay? And then when you have County Councilman as sorry as Raymond Newton and Everett Carolina, you just don't get represented at the table when it comes to the county. This side of Andrews, the west side of Georgetown County, is not, I repeat, is not a part of the overall Georgetown County economic development. Fact.
You clearly down Far Avenue, and it turns right on Main Street, goes to Popular, and then it goes all the way south. And so there's no denying that it is
divided racially.
It is racially divided. The numbers speak, and that this next census, which again is 4 years, 10 years. I'm sorry, 10 years, 10 more years before this thing is looked at again. That it has to remain that way. And that's not fair to the people. It's just not fair for it. And like you said, we're a 2.2 square mile town, but you have 2 reps that can't get 0 done.
0 done. And in the case of District 5, Raymond Newton replaced Austin Beard because he didn't even live in Andrews, but he was sitting on the county council as the rep for Andrews. This is the kind of things that go on in Georgetown County. And so Raymond just stepped in and continuing the work. You know what I mean? I just saw Mr. Patrick Cumbie post something about some highway thing, and what for it's around the state park. The problem is these reps don't come out and involve the community in these things. They I don't know who they talk with, but the community is always a shock to the community when something's going down, like this new road change work they're going to do on the same road. Mind you, you've had citizens go to county council, right? Stand in front of county council and talk about the 4-way stop at Highway 41 and Martin Luther King Road right at the corner of Ebenezer Church, and how dangerous this crosswalk is. You have people going there talking about this, laying their heart out, showing videos, showing clippings of people wrecked. You've got all the evidence. And this is the same highway, right? Maybe 2 miles apart from where they got this proposed work to do, right there on the entrance going to the big dam.
About 3.
And it's just like, where do these things rank? I mean, who decides these things? Like, one, a matter of public safety, the other, a matter of economic development. And so,
that goes back to what you said earlier. There's no communication at the various levels of the government and coming up and say, hey, this is what's more important for this area. So then these projects become an independent project that's not connected to an overall plan strategy.
Yep.
And so it is whoever now can, is at the table and has, the most influence on, because this is all DOT work.
I mean, it's like the ambulance thing. For those of you who don't know, the town of Andrews had no seat at the table when it came to them removing the ambulance from the people. but they took all of the time. They just took all of the flack from it, but no communication.
No, none. And that's just one of a number of things that we have to deal with that could easily be managed by these two council members. If you got 2 votes on a council of 7 people, you should have some punching power. But to make all of their votes go to whatever's happening in Pawleys Island or somewhere else, so to me, it's like their votes are for sale. Because it's not impact. It's not giving having the positive impact on Andrews. So then, if somebody else in a different district said, "Hey, I'm gonna need y'all 2 votes on this to help move this thing forward," and you can see that in the concerns that are coming from the people in the Walk-a-Mon Neck regarding to this the things they've been fighting over about building these complexes or these other structures that people just say, hey, look, we're good where we are, and a lot of times the votes that we get from our 2 council members move things forward for somebody else, and we stay stagnant. And one correction, yeah, you see it right there. And one correction, it's 6 more years before the next census. We don't went, yeah, of course, it was 2020, so you got another 6 years before we can affect the changing of this, the change these district boundaries.
I was just looking at that list again, where for those of you who don't know, that's coming over in the Williamsburg County, Georgetown County is currently, there's a lawsuit against the county of Georgetown because the county doesn't have sufficient low-income housing. Now, when I say low-income housing, I'm not talking about the projects. I'm talking about low-income housing, affordable affordable housing for young families, young professionals, young, firefighters, teachers, all these different things these different types of people that you need to keep building your community. Georgetown County has no interest, right? And it's documented, no interest in doing so. The NAACP, again, that organization, doing what it's supposed to do, has a federal lawsuit against the county in that regard. And Everett, Carolina, again, voted against affordable housing in Georgetown County.
Yeah, that was a shock to everybody. That wasn't even our fight. That was in District 7. And, again, the demand for that. But as his words were, the people didn't want that development to come up in that area.
People didn't want what's his name? Raymond Newton said he didn't want to engage in any social experiment. Or was it was him and Bob Anderson that made some really out of the way comments about, what they thought affordable housing is. As far as, they didn't want to engage in any social experiments, basically, and they didn't want to. If the people, Bob Anderson was quoted as saying, if they already low income housing, then we'll end up having to pay their rent or something to that effect.
I recall it just, I don't know, I can't remember verbatim, but it was very just, yeah, I think at best inappropriate. But that's what we're dealing with, and I guarantee you, it won't change if this fellow stays in that position. And so I encourage people to get out and vote for Ernie Cooper, and so we can get some balance and someone up there who will seriously work for the people.
No doubt. He had how was the turnout yesterday at the fish fry?
He had a good turnout here at the pavilion. A lot of people came out, socialize and get to interact with him. But he's done this in every community.
Yeah, he's been looking. The brothers ran an impressive campaign. Now I got some comments to make after he wins this election, wins the primary. I got some comments to make as we move into the general because it's just some careful observations that I've been making. Um, you know, I'm impressed with what he's doing.
And he has a new, it's new for him. You learn something as if you go through a couple of campaigns and learning how to best manage limited resources, and which he's operated on a very, very low budget, but he's been very creative in how he reached the people, and that's important. And so he talks about tonight. He expressed to the group of folks we spent some time with, and how his plan to have this quarterly engagement with the people he's going to be representing, which is important. Now I tell him, I said, now you got to be careful, because once you get in there, you're going to get busy working. Campaigning and actually doing the job is two different ball games. Campaigning, you on the trail and you're doing all the things that interacting. People think that that's the way it's supposed to be the entire time. Well, after the campaigning you're in, you got to go to work now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to put the work in, so you're not on the trail. You're actually working to do the job that you were hired to do, and that is time consuming. But as I learn, figure it out how to get out here and be a little bit more active. So we have a plan to bring in someone that does the public relations communication to share more information real time, because again, when we're working current and future projects, you forget that you need to put this out on the website or Facebook, because to keep people informed. So you got to have someone dedicated to that. And some of the largest, like we mentioned Georgetown earlier, and their website, they have a dedicated, and it's a big county. You're talking about $100+ million budget. So Miss Jackie Broach is that person who keeps people informed, and she's doing a great job doing. That's how we know what's going on. Small towns and cities don't have the budget to hire those kind of people, but it's just as important for us to be able to communicate as it is for any big city, as we've all